Okay, so somebody asked for a video explaining programming assignment 3 and 4. So that's what I'm going to do. So remember, just like in programming assignment 1 and 2, so programming assignment 3 is the documentation exercise, and then programming assignment 4 is when you actually write the code. Okay, so this is what we're doing. So we have this local video game company is going to have you write an application that will talk about releasing the video games. Okay. So this right here, this paragraph right here, this is going to tell you when, or sorry, what the data definition class is and what attributes you need to keep track of. So each game, so you're probably going to have like a video game class, and you're going to have title, MSRP, okay, which is a price. So that's going to be probably a floating point, a double or something like that. Title will probably be a string, a rating, and the month released. The game rating must be either everyone, teen, or mature. Okay, so this would be something that you can check for in your setter. Okay, that the rating is one of these three items. Okay, the month released must be one of the calendar months. So again, that's another check right there for the month. Additionally, you should keep track of the number of games scheduled for release. Okay. Um, when adding a game to the release schedule, it must have a title and a release month. So this is a clue about a constructor. Okay. If you're going to actually create a new game, then you have to have a title and a release month at minimum. So you're probably going to need a constructor that has a title and a release month as arguments. Okay. Um, this right here, keeping track of the number of games scheduled for release, this you're probably going to use a static variable to do that. Okay. All right. And so what you're going to do is you're going to create a program with a menu that allows the user to select one of the following options. Now, keep in mind, all this stuff right here really pertains to the data definition class. So you're going to have a video game class. You're going to have these attributes, title, MSRP, rating, month released. You're going to have some error checking to make sure that the rating and the months are a specific thing. You're going to have this static variable about the number of games, and you're going to have some constructors. Okay, so this is all kind of related to the data definition class. Now, this next part right here, create a program with a menu. So this is all going to be in the implementation class. Okay, so a user is going to see a menu that looks kind of like this, where you're going to see these 6 different choices. Okay, they can add a game to the release schedule. All right, so in other words, if they choose this menu item, then it's going to prompt the user to type in all of the information, title, MSRP, rating, and month released. Okay, and then if assuming they haven't made any errors, then it's going to create an instance of the video game object and add it to the release schedule. Okay. Remove game from the release schedule. What you're going to do is you're going to view a list of all of the games that are currently scheduled and then select which game to delete. Okay. So this assignment you can already see is a little bit different from the last one in that in the last assignment when we created a circle, right, we just sent that circle off to the circle drawer class and then forgot about it. Okay, but here we're going to actually need to keep track of all of the different video games that get created. Okay, so you're going to need to use an array. Okay, so we've got arrays of objects this week. You're going to need to use an array to keep track of all of these video games. So each time somebody creates a video game, they're going to have to add that video game to an array of video games. That would be the release schedule. Okay. And then that will allow you in number 2 to go ahead and go through and display a list of all of the games. Okay. Then we want them to be able to update a game schedule. And so this is a similar thing in that similar to number 2, in that they would see a list of all of the games, but then instead of removing it, they would be able to update it and change the month. Okay. And then number 4, print games by a given month. So the user's going to enter in a specific month, and then it will just show the games that are going to be released that month. Okay, and then finally the last one is just display all of the video games that have ever been entered. Okay, and then the last one is to exit the program. Okay, so that's basically what the program is. Okay, that's what the assignment is. Now, in terms of these other requirements, all right, so your solution must demonstrate use of arrays, okay? So basically what you're going to have is you're going to have this video game object, okay, for right here, okay? And then in your implementation class, you're going to have an array of video game objects, and that's what is going to represent the release schedule, okay? So the release schedule is nothing more than an array of video game objects. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, you have to use object-oriented techniques. You need to use methods other than main. You have to do all of this stuff. Okay. Note, pay attention to this. This one wants to have a toString method. So make sure you put in a toString method. Okay. That's required. Exception handling. You need to have exception handling. Okay, both in the setters, like in the mutators of your data definition class, as well as in your implementation class, you're going to need exception handling. Okay, your solution must not import any Java library other than JOptionPane. All right. And yeah, so the rest of this stuff is all kind of boilerplate stuff. Don't forget about what you learned about working with array insertions and deletions. Okay, so array deletions, yeah, those are a little bit tricky. You need to understand what's going on with those. Same thing with insertions. Okay, and methods summarizing data on multiple objects should be created in the implementation class. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so again, for assignment 3, this is the documentation exercise. You're doing the exact same things you did for assignment 1. You're going to list and describe the purpose of each class. All right, there's going to be 2 classes. There's going to be the video game class, and then there's going to be whatever you call your implementation class. All right, data definition classes. You just need the one data definition class, video game. Okay, and then implementation class, you're going to list all of the different methods that will be used to create the implementation class. Now, this one's going to be a little bit more involved because you have this giant menu that you have to deal with, so you might want to have a, display menu method, and then for each one of these items, you might want to have a separate method like add games to the release schedule, remove game, update, print, whatever, right? So you might need a bunch of different methods to drive this menu. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're doing this last part 3 of assignment 3, when you're creating the table that lists all of the methods. That will be used in the implementation class. Okay, and so, yeah, so this stuff is all identical to what was in assignment 1. All right, and then, so that's programming assignment 3. That's the one that's due this week. And then programming assignment 4 is you're actually going to write all of the code that does this description. Okay. All right, so that is a description of programming assignments 3 and 4 for IT 206 Fall 2020. If you have any comments or questions, obviously, please feel free to get hold of myself or the TA. All right, thanks.